Coming up on this week's Blue and Gold Breakdown, after a tough loss in Detroit, the Pacers look to turn things around in Chicago. Pacers Overtime host Eddie White joins the show to discuss how the Pacers can get back on track. And after strong comments about leading, Eddie White breaks down Victor Oladipo in the leadership role, and we'll preview the weekend ahead as the Pacers visit Chicago and host Houston. All that and more is coming up right now. Pacers Overtime host Eddie White joining us for the first time of the season on the Blue and Gold Breakdown here. Eddie, we are 12 games in. I know you like to talk about we need maybe double that before you diagnose a team, but what have you seen here through 12?
Well, I think, I was talking with Chris Denari the other night on our post-game show, and he made a good point. It's human nature is we get greedy. You ask for like 2 or 3 things at Christmas, and then you come down and you get them like, okay, and then you're already like, what's the next thing? And I think we got off to such a good start. We all start drinking the Kool-Aid. We're like, give me more, and then whoa. And, I do believe you need 24 games. And that's like with all hands on deck. And, we never had all the hands on deck yet. Missing Miles for that big window there. And then, now we missed Sabonis. 2 games not to show up for, not to have him going against. We had with King Kong and Godzilla the other night. And then, boom, we had the big guy. How about the guy that reminded me of Andre Giant the other night for the Detroit? Holy smokes, the guy is like as big as Michigan. And so, I wouldn't go crazy because we lost 4 in a row. Because you can't forget some of the good things. I still go back to that fourth quarter at Cleveland, when in Pacers recent past, we don't make that run. We were up and then they made the run and then we just we lose, and boom, we stepped on them. And so that tells you there's something there. I think they're still trying to figure this out. And I like to listen to the people who know what they're talking about. I'm not in that category. Guys like Slick Leonard, who said after the game the other night, there's still some things that we got to work on defensively. Whether you go over or under on the picks and stuff, and then even offensively, there's some things. And that's why I can't help but go back to what Brad Stevens said when his first couple of years in the NBA, and he said, I love where it's just basketball, but I wish there were more days to practice. I wish we played a game, practice for 3. Played a game, practice for 3, because we could work on things. And the frustrating thing is what you have to work on, but you don't have the time to work on it because guess what? You got another game. And I think when you have a new team with so many new players, that it's even more of a curve to get around. And I think that's what we're getting around now. We're taking a wide curve, and it's just be patient. But I love the locker room. I love the intensity, and I'm still big buying guy into what we're doing. A guy you just mentioned, Domantas Sabonis. He came in, I think, really surprised a lot of fans with how effective he was. They haven't had him in the last 2, and I think you're maybe even starting to see even more how valuable he is when the Pacers don't have him. Oh, absolutely. I think he's Mark Boyle and I have talked about this on our post-game show also, is that there's something to the European player. You're a young guy. Us old people, we remember when guys actually played 4 years in college. 4! And they came out with fundamentals, and they knew how to pass and went on a fast break to stop at the foul line and dish, and they had those. Well, the European players, let's go back, Nowitzki, really started, they have those fundamental skills. Sabonis has those. And I think he makes the other 4 guys, whoever they may be, better when he's out there. And not having him, we saw how he flourished when Miles went down, and then to think what we're going to be like when Miles is healthy and he's healthy, and then Nate and the coaches have some things that they can kind of play around with and stuff. But he is, I think, a very important piece of the puzzle, which they all are. Victor has to shoot well. When Darren Collison's playing smart, with the assists and stuff like that, we've seen, what we have, 75 points in the first half the other night? No team in basketball. Golden State, woo, Cleveland, woo, Boston. Nobody has had 75 points in a half. We did. So, there's enough good stuff there that, be patient, Pacer fans. I think the good days are coming. In some of your other jobs, I wanted to hit on this and ask you because I think you would have good perspective on this. In some of your other jobs, you've been in a lot of locker rooms and been around a lot of big coaches, big players, big names. Victor Oladipo had, I thought, some interesting comments a couple of games ago after the game in the locker room where he sort of turned the tables on himself.
Second to last free throw box out, that was my fault. I should have been in there boxing out. I should have got that rebound. Got to do a better job overall as a leader. Just got to do a better job of getting us ready to play. I got to do a better job of helping us close out games in the fourth quarter. It's my responsibility I feel like as the leader of this team. So it won't happen again.
I found this to be as promising as comments I think that I have heard in my 4 years from a player taking a leadership standpoint. I know you had the chance to watch and see what he said. Curious your thoughts.
Well, that's a great point. And it's a good observation on your part. I think we live in a world now where we see it, and I'm being old. I have a son, and I always say you guys are soft and all this other stuff, and they always point to somebody else. They always, well, yeah, there's always an excuse. Well, the reason we lost, the reason this didn't happen, or he did this or she did that, and I think it's almost old school of what Victor did, and I think that is one of the core qualities of a great leader. I mean, I was blessed to work under a great coach in Miami, Don Shula, and a great quarterback in Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny was always the first one to say, hey, that's on me. You know, I screwed up. And you know, and I'll tell you a story about Troy Aikman, another great leader for the Cowboys. They had a Super Bowl where they played Pittsburgh, and he threw a couple interceptions or something like that. And he just took the play, yeah, ball, whatever. And it was the receiver ran the wrong route. Now, he could have thrown him under the bus and said, hey, Pat Boylan ran the wrong way. I threw it where it was supposed to be, and that's why it was intercepted. No, he didn't. I think sometimes leaders take the bullets, and he may have been taking more blame than maybe he should.
Mm-hmm.
But what that does, it has the other guys in the locker room, and again, we talked about this, they're still trying to figure each other out here.
Right.
They're still trying to figure out what they're like. The other guys sitting there going, man, he took a bullet for me. You know, and that's what when I said that I really like this locker room. I've been here, what, 6 years or so? It's the best locker room I've seen since I've been here. And it is so important, whatever sport you play, NFL, NBA, hockey, whatever, to have a great locker room, and it starts with trust and then leadership. And leadership is not given. It's earned, and it's organic. I mean, it will come up. It will rise at certain levels for certain teams. And I think that was a great moment. We may look back at the end of the season and point to that post-game situation as something where this team really, like the glue started to harden on the locker room.
One player that we haven't talked about a lot this season, I think it's been a little bit unfair. He's a good locker room guy as well. He fits that. Is Thaddeus Young. There's been so much attention on not having Miles Turner early, on what Domantas Sabonis has brought. But even in that most recent game against Detroit, you look up and Thaddeus Young is putting in his normal 16-8 body of work. And I just think he's a guy that we haven't talked about enough because of the players around him and what they have been doing. But I think he's been vital to that glue you're talking about.
Well, the main reason we haven't talked about him is he was here last year.
Yeah.
You know, we had so many new guys, so you got to talk about the new guys.
Yep.
You got to talk about Collison and, of course, Victor and Sabonis and all the new guys coming in. Like, yeah, he was here last year. But look at what he's done. You can look at just the box score, which I hate to do that, and then you can look with your own eyes and see what he's doing out there. He has made, not only has he put up some good numbers, there have been key parts in some of our victories where he made a key basket, whether it was a key three or he got a key rebound. This is the best Pacers basketball I've seen him play since I think he's been with us. And he has been, obviously, one of the positives to our early season start, and I agree with you. But I think the reason that we're not paying attention to him is because we're focused on all the new guys. Well, we're trying to figure out how to pronounce Sabonis, and then people are trying to, do we call him Domas or Domantas or what do we call him? We're worried about that stuff. Meanwhile, Thaddeus Young's over here just getting it done and doing a little blue-collar work.
Pacers have a couple of games coming up. I see this one coming up on Friday as, look, it's still early. We're not even at your 20-game mark, 20, 25, whatever the number is. But dropped 4 in a row. Chicago coming up, a team that's struggling, knowing you've got Houston in this building as well coming up on Sunday. This one on Friday night might be a little bit more important, you think?
I was waiting for you to pull, this is a must victory. They got must game.
It's not quite that. But
they got to get this one Friday.
You've dropped 4 in a row, a chance against a Chicago team who's struggling and a little shorthanded.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Detroit and Chicago, I think, are apples and oranges. I think Detroit's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they have bought into what Van Gundy's doing. They're very talented, and obviously second-best record in the East. Chicago, they're kind of drifting, not quite sure what's going to happen. With the day's rest, I think this is one the Pacers should get. And it would be great. Let's not get this streak to 5 and 6, whatever. Let's end it and then come home, because we know what's going on Sunday. And I keep telling people, especially in the post-game show, if you haven't come down yet, I think you need to see us play in person, and hopefully Sabonis is playing by Sunday, to see what he does, to see, you know, what Victor's doing Collison. I mean, how about Lancey the other night? Lancey was fantastic. To see us in person, and then, yeah, we know, a lot of times people want to know who you're playing. Well, guess what? It's James Harden, Eric Gordon.
Yep.
Houston. I mean, it could be 160 to 150 when we get all over with. It could be a whale of a game. And Sunday, it's a doubleheader, right? You come down, people are coming downtown to watch the Colts at 1 o'clock. Boom, 1 o'clock. Boom, Colts beat up on Pittsburgh, and then they matriculate down Georgia Street. Like that, matriculate?
I do.
Matriculate down Georgia Street. Come in here early because Levy got the good food going on here, and boom, watch us play at 6 o'clock and beat Houston.
I like it.
Let's play two.
You could be a weekend planner.
I could be like a weekend. I could be a wedding planner. I am multi-talented. You know that.
Very aware.
So when you get married, I could plan your wedding.
All right.
Boyle and I will plan it for you. Cigars.
What? I don't think anybody could want anything more. Eddie White, Pacers overtime. You can catch him after the game on Friday night against Chicago. It's an 8 o'clock tip. We'll begin with the Kroger pregame show at 7:30. Then we'd love to have you here, as Eddie said, against Houston on Sunday. That's a 6 o'clock tip, so a little bit earlier. Let the people get home as well with the workday coming up an hour earlier than previously. Pacers versus Bulls is next on Friday. Pacers overtime host Eddie White joining us in the Blue and Gold Breakdown. Eddie, thanks for your time.